I'm Cynthia Williams,
And I'm Shatawa Jones.
and we are
Sisters at the table. Sisters, what you say? What you talk about? What you talk about? Sisters, what you say? What you talk about? What you talk about and say?
Express, elevate, evolve.
right. Welcome to another show of Sisters at the Table. On today, we have a very special guest in honor of Father's Day. We want to say Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers that may be watching at this time. We're going to bring on our special guest at this time, and we have none other than Jean Dorsey.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to the sister table. I really do appreciate it.
Yes.
So, I'm ready.
All right. You ready? Okay. Well, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm married. I have 5 kids, only 5. I have 2 grandbabies. They all have graduated from college. 4 of them graduated from college. One is still going through college. The baby girl, she's still in college, and well, they are pretty interesting.
Okay.
My kids are pretty interesting. Yes, so it's good. It's good to be a dad and everything. I really enjoyed it, and we're watching them grow up. So I tell a lot of people, pay attention, don't lose focus, and make sure that you pay attention and take plenty of pictures, because they will grow up quick.
Okay. All right. Good. I think all children are interested.
Yes, they are.
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so.
All right. Well, how long have you been a father?
Well, I have been a father for 29 years.
Awesome.
29 years. I met my first wife. She had a child that was 2 years old, so I took him in as mine. I allowed him to be. I did not force him to call me dad. He began calling me dad on his own. You know, I let him call me Mr. Dorsey or Gene. Mr. Dorsey, and so he became relaxed and more comfortable with me. He began to call me dad. So I took him on. So I don't no longer call myself a stepdad. I call myself a bonus dad.
Oh.
So I'm his bonus dad.
Okay.
Because he has a father, and so I'm his bonus dad. So so it's good. I've been a stepfather, so I know what other people are going through, as well as I have my own natural kids. But all of them are my kids, so I call them all my kids. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you being a bonus dad, Mr. Dorsey, tell us something about your children, because I know your children is a product of you.
Yes.
And then you being a bonus father and taking on that responsibility, what's about your children, the difference between the two? Because all kids are different,
Yes.
different personalities,
Yes.
different ways. And tell us something about your children.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because as my kids began to get older, each one of them would say, "Oh, she's the favorite. No, he's the favorite. No, she's the favorite. No, he's the favorite."
Right.
So I had to break it down to all of them and let them know, no one is the favorite. What it is I have the dynamics of our relationship is different. I have a different relationship with you according to your character, how you are, what you like to do. The dynamics are different, but I treat them all the same. But I actually know how to mix in their world, or whatever their makeup is at that time.
Right.
Some of them are jazzy, some of them are crazy, some of them are funny, some of them some of them are debatable.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Now the debatable one, I made her go into debate class.
Okay.
And she went all the way to Michigan and Homewood Plasma, and she won the debate competition.
Okay.
She loved to argue with me.
Miss Opinionated.
Miss
Miss
Opinionated.
Opinionated.
Yes, not argue, but Miss Opinionated.
Yeah.
You couldn't give her one, you couldn't just say one thing to her. She would take it further and say, well, what about this? Well, what about this? So, yeah. So once you learn the dynamics of each one of the relationship, or know how each one of them are or how they operate, then that helps you in upbringing them, and you can better be a better father as well as a better, how can I put it, supporter.
Yeah.
You be a better support system for them because you know where they at, how they think, what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah.
Instead of just forcing one set of rules on them and then that's it.
And I think that's good, especially with you saying that she was opinionated, because you know what you begin to do is not just try to what I want to say, take that away from her or change her character, but you found a way to cultivate it and to say, okay, let's put you in this area because of your character and the way you are. You didn't try to change her, you know. And sometimes what happens is, even with parents, you know, because we don't really know how to deal with that part of our children, and so what we begin to do is, you know, kind of make them feel belittled or make them feel bad about it. Instead of saying, okay, maybe this is the way you are made up, so let's find out how to turn it around for the good, instead of just looking at it negatively. So that's good. That's good. You told her to go into debate class. How did that help her now? I mean, what is she at now?
Well, now she's a freelance photographer. She has her own business.
Okay.
You know, I as well as whatever their dreams was or whatever their goals were, I got behind them and wanted to push them and make sure that they reached that level that they wanted to reach. So she wanted to be a photographer. She has been to Turkey. She has been to Paris. She's been on a school tour where she take pictures and everything.
Wow.
So she's been I would say all around, not all around the world, but to 5 different countries. And now she's in California still, and she's doing photography for very well-known artists, singers, actors, and everything. So it's very good. And each one of them, they wanted to go to different schools. They had different talents and different aspirations. So I let them be who they wanted to be. I have one son who is a police officer. I have another daughter. She went to Columbia. You know, he went to EIU. She went to Columbia down to Chicago. She wanted to be a PR, someone dealing with the music and the arts, but everything like that. And then the other one, he went to ITT. But he found out later that he did not want to work on computers. So he's a bounty hunter out of Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my youngest girl, she wanted to follow in her dad's footsteps. She wanted to be a physical therapist for sports, but then she ended up finishing school early. We did not know why she was going to summer school every year. She went to summer school every year, and I paid for it. The other ones I had to pay for in order for them to graduate. But her, she went to summer school every year just so she can graduate early. She ended up graduating early, but they wouldn't let her go to college early. That was Mariah. They wouldn't let her go to college early. So what she did is they put her in a cooking program. So she ended up getting her cooking, her certificates and everything, culinary art. Yeah, she ended up working for a Chicago Depository and everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so now that's all she's doing. She's working in restaurants. She wants to be a chef, and she wants to, what's the name? So she's doing like most people do, but some people come out and they go right to the big top, but she's working from the bottom and starting up. So she's working in little restaurants and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right
That you just gave like key golden nuggets.
Yes.
To knowing your children. Cause it cultivated them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it pushed them to another place.
Yes.
And where your role was, you know, you were just being, hey, this is my dad. You know, this my dad, but you know each one of your children. And it's so important that fathers know their children. That none don't feel shunned to the side, or none don't feel less than the other ones, because it cultivates them into who they are.
That's true.
When we think, oh, you know, that's so-and-so, she'll be all right. No, it's very important to identify when that child needs you. I mean, a mother is nourished You know, that hold, that love.
Yeah.
But the Father breaks the yoke of the bondages so I can grow in love.
That's good.
The nourish that my mom give me.
Yes.
My dad breaks that stigma, that hope in me that says I can't when I can.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. And even listening to you talk about your children, it sounds like at this point they are very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you, what do you think the importance of, or what would you say the importance of a father being a part of their children's life, that role that it plays in their success in their life?
Well, it plays a big part because a lot of children, just like when I grew up, I had a bonus dad, but you know, I don't know whose fault it was, but for some reason I grew up with a bonus dad.
Okay.
We don't have to go through all that. But I just wanted to make
Praise
sure.
God for the bonus dad.
I just wanted to make sure that I changed the culture that was going on in my life. I wanted to change, you know, because when you're growing up and you don't have a father figure, and you know, kids are picking on you at school.
Yeah.
So what you do is you have to begin to develop a sense of security or a sense of boldness on your own, and before you know it, you having little fights and stuff, and you try to protect yourself. You don't have nobody to really talk to, even though you have brothers. All they gonna tell you is you better man up,
Right.
and you better not come back home unless you got him. You know,
Right.
so you have to, you know, it's learned behavior. So I just wanted to change things and give them a different lifestyle than what I've grown up to,
Yes.
what I was accustomed to. Because what I tell all my kids is, I want y'all to be better than me.
Yeah.
So take what I'm giving you all from the level that I can give y'all. Take that, go off and do what you're gonna do, and then make it even greater.
Yeah.
So I expect my kids to be better and more advanced than I am because of the culture that they're in, the society, and everything else.
Yeah.
So yes, I want my kids to excel and be better.
That's good.
So
That's
I want
good.
them to be better.
Sound like there's some generational curses being broke.
Yes.
He said bonus dad, but he said I wanted it to stop and be different
Be different. Yes.
than how I was raised.
Yeah.
But then he spoke out, I want to be better.
Yeah.
I want you guys to be better
Yes.
Yeah.
than me.
Yeah.
That, you know, that goes into breaking generation curses of single momhood upon his daughters. You know, different things upon his son.
Yeah.
That's an awesome key. That
Yeah.
you giving real good nuggets
Yes.
today, Mr. Dorsey.
Very good. And you know, as you were talking, Ephesians, I just want to bring up Ephesians 6:4.
Yeah.
It says, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." And so, as we look at this scripture, it's imploring fathers to make sure that they bring up their children in the ways of the Lord, but to discipline them, to encourage them,
Yes.
to comfort them,
Yes.
and to instruct them. And all of those things, as you're talking about your children and where they are now and the
Yes.
role that you played in their life, it seems like those are things that you were doing. Those are tools that you use to
Yes.
help bring them up in the
Oh,
way
yes.
they should go. And even as you were saying, I want my children to be better than you. I
Yes.
always tell them, you know, my father would always say that to us, that I want you all to be better than
Yes.
me. You know, don't stop at where I stop, but go further and be greater than what I have accomplished. That's very important, because even as you think about, now let's take it to a spiritual aspect, right?
Yes.
As we think about our spiritual father, as we think about God, our Father, right? God, He has spoken into us. He declared who we should be. And then not only that, but He nourished us in that. He gave us
Yes.
two instruction on how we are to accomplish those things. And I think that the more that children see their natural father as being that image in their life, as playing that role, that now they're able to receive the spiritual aspect of our Heavenly Father. And so can you just speak a little bit on that in comparison to a natural father? How important is the role of the natural father in the children's life, so that can be an example of our spiritual father?
Well, even with Ephesians 6, like you was reading, even with discipline, when I discipline them, I talk to them first,
Yes.
let them know why, because we gave them warnings and gave them different things, what not to do and don't do it. Then that's when the chastisement comes. That's when the discipline and the punishment comes in. You know, any whatever forms we use. But we would then after that, I would talk to them and still tell them I love you. I hug them and tell them that you brought this upon yourself, to let them know that they brought it upon themselves. But for fathers to be in their kids' life is very important, because it gives them a sense of direction.
Yes.
It gives them a sense of stability. It gives them a sense of security. They know that they know mom is always gonna be in their corner. But if they got their dad behind them and their dad's approval, kids seem to flourish even more. For some reason, they flourish even more because mom is always gonna be there. For some reason, mom's always got that bond with the kids. But the dad, they want to see if dad makes that effort. Sure, a lot of us fathers, we think just because we're making money, we paying the bills, we buying them shoes, we putting them on some nice t-shirts, and they can drive the car and this and that. We think that we have did our job.
That's right.
But that's not where it stops at. They
right.
need that interaction. They need that love. They need to feel your comfort. They need to feel you around them, watching a stupid cartoon with them, a goofy cartoon, not a stupid cartoon, but a goofy cartoon, or watching a movie with them. You know, they need to know, hey, Dad put rules in place and we gotta go by them. You know, one thing I always made my kids do, I never put televisions in their rooms, because I wanted everybody to be as a family unit.
Okay.
So we had a set time we had to eat every day, even if I was on nights or mornings or what have you. Even if I was on afternoons, I would come home on my lunch break just to sit down at the table with them and shoot back to work with them. That's only if you work closely to where your job is at. That's gonna work. But yeah, I try to create a little stability. So yes, and so that's pretty much, a father needs to set the tone of structure and stability in the home.
Yes.
And the kids will see that and they react differently.
Yeah.
Wow, it takes, as I hear him, and I was hearing what you were saying concerning the structural part of raising children, it leads into so much that you were a central part of your children's life. Not only just a provider.
That's it.
Not only just a provider, but girls are close to their dads. Girls are very close to their dad, and so for the women that struggle or didn't have a father in their life, I asked the Lord. I said, because I grew up with a bonus dad, but my birth father wasn't in my life, and I asked the Lord. I said, Lord, before I get married, allow me to have closure that I meet my father.
Okay.
And before I got married, God allowed my father to come into my life. That you could do it, you could go ahead, you can, and even in the latter part of my life, my dad was still yet, I'm so proud of you, I'm glad that I met you, I'm glad that I found you, you understand, but my bonus dad was still, he was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, I thank God for a closure, because it is so important when young girls have the fathers.
Yes.
It's so important for the men of God, for men, even if you have not accepted Christ in your life, to be a part of your children's life.
It is. Yes.
So, Mr. Dorsey, in you being a father, a dad, a granddad, how active are you in your grandchildren's life, in your children's life?
Well, you have to stay active. I'm active with my children. I still contact my kids through FaceTime. Some of them live in California, some live in Indiana. One of them live in Indiana, two live in California, and the other two, they live around in the area. So I still see my grandkids. I watch Mia a couple of days a week, and Piper. I haven't watched Piper in a long time, but me and the father and the mother, we working on that. But you still have to be active in your kids. Like even though my kids are grown, they're out of the house, they on their own and everything. But you still have to give them advice. You still have to make sure that you're checking in on them, because you want to make sure, even though you know that you raised them right, you instill good values in them and everything, you still want to check on them and you still want to talk to them, because they might have questions. You know, they might have different things they want to ask you about. They often call me for cooking advice, for recipes and different things like that. So I still try to stay active in their lives, because even though they're adults now, you still have to be their dad. No matter what, you might not be they might not be in your house, and you have the rules and regulations of all this stuff, and you still try to rule over them, but you still have to find a way that they can come to you for questions, and you still can give them advice. They might not take it, but you can still give them the advice, and then suggest what they should do, or they should try to do this so they get a better outcome. But you still have to be involved in your kids' life even after they turn 18.
Yes.
Yeah,
So a father's job is never done.
Never done.
Never
Never done. Sound like he becomes the coach.
Yes.
And the kids
That is
become the
good.
team.
Yes.
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 And on this team, we got team players.
Yes.
Yes.
You follow it, you'll make a home run.
That's it.
And be successful in what you have applied to your hands
Yes.
with.
Yes.
You don't, you're going to strike out every time.
Right.
Yes.
So that's a good
Yes.
key. That's a good key point.
And you know, one thing I like about it is you let them know that they're not out there alone fending for
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because even if they fall short or whatever, you don't want to be there to try to hold their hand going through life. But you just let them know that you are there even if they do fall or fall on rough times. So I still send them money and different things like that. But that moral support, that's what they really need.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And that's good, because even after I got married, my father still supported me in some ways.
That's awesome.
I knew that if I was ever in trouble, I could
Yeah.
call my father,
Yeah.
and he's gonna show up.
Yeah.
You know, and so as we said, that the father's job is never done.
Yeah.
You just change roles as they begin to get grown, get out of the house, get married. The roles just kind of change, but it's still a part of the fathering job that you do.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. You know, some men that are watching might not have that father,
Yes.
and they don't know how. They don't know. They haven't been raised. They've been raised by their mother, and being a single mother, you can only do so much.
Yes.
You can never teach a man how to be a man,
Yeah.
but you can pray a man how to be a. You can pray a man how to be a. God, you know, put the right men in their lives to impart in them
Right.
how to be men,
Yeah.
how to be a man,
Yeah.
and how to adapt and walk in this society. What would you say to those men who don't have the father, did not have that father perspective in their life, did not have that I'm there for you, son,
Yeah.
you can do it, sometimes went to jail, come back out, and they're looking for a way
Yes.
to say, look, it might be 18, it might be 25, it might be 5, but I've been gone out of my child's life, and I need to start from somewhere.
Yes.
What would you say to that man that's trying to start over a relationship with their child?
Well, you have to make sure that the shame, don't allow the shame
That's
to
good.
stand up and be bold in your face, because shame will cause you never to pick up that phone. Shame will cause you never to go by that house. Shame will never want you to face
Yes.
what you have done and what you have where you have not been at. So shame will come and it will cause you to run away or not want to face what you need to face. So if you haven't been in that kid's life and you've been in and out of jail, or you wasn't making money so you can make it, or you just didn't want to give the money to the woman because you knew that, oh, I'm supporting her. You have to face that child. And I'm gonna tell you this, once you go to that child and you talk to him, once you get the courage up and nerve, you will see that child, all that child wants to be is loved, accepted. That child just wants acceptance from you.
Yes.
That child just wants to know that you did not reject them, that you did not, that you care. So once you allow that shame to move out the way, and then you can step to the child and be bold and just say, be a man. I'm sorry. I failed you.
Yes.
See, men, we don't like to accept.
Uh-oh.
A lot of times, we don't like to accept when we know that we are wrong.
Right.
And we definitely don't want to face when we're snapped. We might be strong now, but when we know that we have to apologize or accept what we done,
Watch out.
Yes.
sometimes we don't want to face that or don't want to accept it, that we actually messed up and we actually did something wrong. So it takes a lot for a man to come and say, I'm sorry. So you have to just say, apologize and then move on. Once you do that, then you can begin a new relationship with that child.
That's good.
So
That's
a
real
good
good.
thing.
Yes, that's real good.
I've apologized to my kids a lot of times, and a lot of people will say that makes you weak. No, it doesn't. It lets your kids know that you are human and that you acknowledge when you are wrong.
Yes.
So that they don't grow up thinking that, oh, I have to double down on everything, no matter what, even if it's proven that I'm wrong. I have to stand on that. Oh no, I was right, and not accept it. But yes, if a man can apologize to his kid and let them know that he was wrong, that doesn't mean that you don't still have authority and power. I mean that you don't still have leadership or authority over them. That just means that you are human.
Yeah. That's good.
That's good because you're being the example that they need. You're teaching them how when they get older, how they're to respond to things.
Yes,
You know, and so
that's good.
that's very good that you said, even talking about apologizing, because most men don't think that they're supposed to apologize. You know, or they think that it makes them look weak or whatever it is. But that's very good, and it's important. Even for as being a daughter, it's important for a daughter to hear her father apologize.
That's
you
good.
know, because even as we are growing to select our future spouses, you know, those are things. My father used to always say, make sure when you get married that man can do what I do for you or more. And so that's even what you're to look for in a spouse, that I should see the attributes. If my father was a good father, I should see the attributes of my father in
my spouse. That's awesome.
That's how you select a good one. Okay. And so let's continue on. Let's talk about, because you talked about fathers may not be in the home. You talked about some being in jail. And so in our culture, African American culture, we know that the statistics say that most of the homes are fatherless homes. What would you say to that?
Well, that is true, but so that means that men, we have to watch who we are laying with, who we are picking as a mate. You know, if you don't wear protection, then you are planning to have kids. So if you're doing any of that, then you're planning to have kids. So don't say, oh, we didn't mean for this to happen. Yeah, you did mean for this to happen because there's a reproductive system in that woman. So, but for men that is what was it again, that they are fatherless?
Or the homes are fatherless.
The homes are fatherless. It takes the man to step up and do what he is supposed to do, what he knows is right. If you bring a child into the world, your responsibility is to help support that child. Your responsibility, no matter what the woman, you know, a lot I hear some guys saying, oh man, she every time I come over there, she got her hair done, she got her nails done, she got this done, you know, but my child saying that she ain't got no clothes. Men, child support is to help support the child. Child support is to help take care of where that child is living at. So you are still supposed to buy your kids clothes. You're still supposed to buy your kids sports gear. You're still supposed to help pay for their daycare, pay for their schooling. You're still supposed to help outside of child support. You're still supposed to help raise them. So no matter what you say you're paying for child support, you still have to pay part of the medical bills. You still got to cover the dental bills. You still got to make sure that your child has that fee that she needs tomorrow, and she just told you that night before that she gonna need $350 before she can go to be in that sporting event. Now she had 2 weeks to tell you, but she told you that night before. So now you and the mother have to figure out a way how to get that money so that y'all can get it paid. So you have to put your feelings aside, man. Put your feelings aside, because your feelings no longer count. Now you're living to raise that child.
Yes.
So that's all you have to think about. I am living to make my child's life better than mine.
Yeah.
So you have to be an active part in that child's life. They need you. Society is going wild, so they need structure and they need guidance.
Yes.
It's so important when you said they need structure and guidance, because that makes parents, fathers approachable. You know, some girls be like, oh, I was raised in the house with my father, he was the pastor, he made me wear long skirts, and he wasn't approachable. Because he felt like he was just the provider. And so we have to be on a place. You know, you putting yourself in this plateau, and you setting a pace for fathers to rethink how their approach is, and to be able to come in a gentle place. That is my baby. I gotta be gentle. I know I'm a man. You don't have no identity crisis going on.
Right.
But I'm able to go into a gentle place, but yet keep my manhood as a father and as a man, to let my baby know you can approach me.
Yes.
At any time.
Yes.
That's good.
At any time. Not since I didn't, come on, I'm at a reset. Because that's what I hear. The men are at a reset stage of being a father. And some of them are at a reset stage of being a man. And so you're making your children, I don't care, from 10 to 1. They can approach you and say, Daddy, you know, I'm going through this. Without being judged. Without being characterized. They're able to come to you. And that seemed like you set the stage for not only your children, but other children in the church around you. To come and say, can I talk to you? Can I tell you something personal without it getting out?
That's true.
Will you keep this? Because it's in your heart to make yourself approachable. And I believe that all fathers, that are fathers, have to make themselves approachable.
That is true. Yes.
Not traditional.
And
Right.
that right there is definitely true. Because the character of a leader, of a man, he has to have his character has to be, like I said before, his character has a moral presence. So your child should not know two different dads. She should not know the church dad and then know the dad that is at home with her. Because he should be living the same life and showing the same example. I believe I said it was 3 P's, personal, private, and your public life should all be the same. So that makes up your character.
Yes. So in us coming to a place, Sanithia, I believe our guest has really put forth that place of bondage that men stand in to be broken. Is there anything that you can give to the fathers, any impartation that you can give to the young fathers, even to the old fathers? Is there anything that you can speak or, you know, give any advice to them that will bring them into a place to where they would want to even come where you fellowship at and talk to you and have a men fellowship with you to come into this place where you are, to build them up as men, but to mend the relationship as fathers?
Well, you know, I'm at Harvest of Souls Ministries International. That's in Palos Heights, Illinois. And my pastor is none other than Pastor Sanithia Williams. And the leadership that she shows, and she's very, she understands her role as a pastor, and she knows that she is over men. And for men to look up to her and look at her guidance and look to her for spiritual guidance, it takes a lot. So men can look. I'm telling you, I don't have no problem with looking to my pastor for guidance, because I know that she is that tree planted by the riverside.
Yes, she is.
She's always in season.
Yes,
she
she is.
always has a word, and she always knows what is best, because she is always connected to that stream, which is God. She always connected to that word. So if she's connected to that word, why wouldn't you have her over you that can give you the word from the Lord?
Amen.
Why wouldn't you have her over you so that she can guide you and direct you? See, no, you should never look at the gender of a person and look at and say, oh, they can't guide me or they can't direct me spiritually, because you have to look at her character and the way that and her values. So if you understand that, then you can move. You can come and sit up under Pastor Sneaker Williams. But we also have a men's fellowship with Pastor Eddie saying that he's over, and and I'm telling you, if you come in, you will begin to hear different things of how a man should treat his wife, a man should treat his kids, how a man should be how a man should be performing in business as well as in a workplace.
Come on.
Because you have to remember, if you're not, when we work as unto God.
Yeah.
So you should not be on final warning. You should not be suspended. You should not be late all the time. You should not be. You have to set a standard.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Because you're doing whatever you do it unto God.
Yeah.
So we should be the most qualified. We should be the ones that they're talking about, the employees of the month. We should be the ones that they are talking about as Christians.
Yes.
That's good.
So, men, it's okay to open up, to share, to talk about what you're going through at home at Harvest of Souls. So that I just wanted to say that about my home, about my church, because if Harvest of Souls ministry, you will get the love, the direction, and the guidance that you need.
Yeah.
Amen.
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 Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and get ready to conclude our show for today. We're going to ask if you can pray for the fathers.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father, we just asking you that you will touch each and every dad today, every father on today. Where they're lacking that, Father, begin to step in, begin to fill the gaps and the void. Where they're nervous at, where they don't feel like they level up or they match up to the rest of the people in the world. Let them know, Father, that you have them. You have them in the palm of your hand. And all they have to do is just ask you for guidance, ask you for direction, ask you for how to deal with their child. For we know each and every child has a different dynamics of their personalities. So, Father, we were just asking that you would begin to speak to the fathers, those that need help with making that first step to getting back into their kids' lives.
Yes.
Let them begin to make that step. Tear down that hurt, that pain, that shame. Father, we bind that up right now in the name of Jesus, that they will begin to make the first step so that they can begin to be active in their kids' lives. And Father, those that are in their kids' lives but not a part of their kids' lives, we ask you, Father, that you will let them lose themselves and begin to see the joy that you have placed in their lives. Watching the young people grow up and that they have a hand in helping them be all that they can be. We ask and pray in Jesus' mighty name.
Yes, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Sisters at the Table.
Yes.
We want to say a very special Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers that are out there. We hope that you enjoy your day. And continue to follow us. If you have any questions or if you have some topics that you would like to hear us talk about, make sure that you inbox us. We would love to hear from you and hear your feedback on our shows. Once again, thank you. We are Sisters at the Table.
What you talk about, sisters, what you say, what you talk about, what you talk about and say.
Express, elevate, evolve.